Hi everyone, and welcome to day 13 in our Rust adventure. This is Advent of Rust, and we're building a web API in Rust together. Yesterday we talked about access token, and we write some codes, but it was not error-proof, so we use the unwrap keyword in Rust, which is not a good practice. So today we are going to spend some time refactoring this to make sure the code is really clean and following the best practices. So let's dive into the code. So yeah, yesterday we saw that the response is returning a string with an access token in it, a token type and a scope. We're more interested in the access token, but instead of parsing this string, maybe we just want to extract this. As you may notice, this is a JSON string, so maybe we want to read the JSON as a result, store that into a new object with the access token field. So let's go ahead and create this new structure. So we can define a new struct, which is going to be AuthToken. Inside, we will have access token, and it's going to be a string. Cool. So now instead of returning a string here, what we can return is obviously an auth token. That's great. If we have a look, here we are printing the response as a text and returning like a dummy string. What we want to return is an access token struct with the value inside. So instead of reading the text, what we can read is the JSON. To use the JSON type from the response, we need a special feature of request that we're going to install. Remember, we yesterday we had a request like this. Request. What we can do is we can add a new feature which is JSON. It's not installed by default, but you can request to add this feature. So now we are able to read the JSON from the response. So this is great. Now we can store this as the result. It's a JSON. This is obviously a result. So maybe once again, we can use the unwrap, and we're going to modify this in a moment. So now result is, we don't know yet. So maybe what we can do is to specify that this is actually an access token, and response.json, we can specify a template type, which is going to be an access token, auth token. We need to implement deserialize as we talked about yesterday, because the string needs to be deserialized into an object, into a struct. So let's go ahead and add this instruction. So it's going to be a derive type, and it's going to be deserialized. Great. By doing this, we can now remove this because this type is inferred. So now we know that result is of type auth token. And finally, what we can do is either return the result, or since in Rust, the last line is actually a return statement, we can do this, which is exactly the same. Or we can even do more shorter and just return that. So great. Now, instead of having that very lengthy string, we just have the auth token. That's great. But obviously, we still have a lot of unwrap, and that's not a good practice. So what we can do is we can return a result. We can return a result of token, and for now, let's say I don't know yet, so I will put this. So instead of unwrapping this, what I can do is just use the question mark operator that we talked about in day 3 or 4. If you're not sure, you can take a look at the previous video. And by doing this, we can now say this is a string. This is going to be a string. And this is going to be a string. Of course, this won't compile because here I don't know what kind of error I have. So if we take a look at the var, it's returning a result of a string and var error. So maybe what we want to do is do that. We can import it, and now it's good. So if we do that, we can remove this. It means that we are trying to retrieve the GitHub token URL. If it fails, this will return the var error as a result. So obviously now this won't compile because this is just a string. We need to say, hey, this is fine. So great. Now we have a way better code. Instead of returning this auth token, we are returning a result, which can take a parameter like an enum variable, which will be the error if something is failing. Of course, we have another kind of unwrap here. So maybe we want to remove that as well. And we can do this. If we save, that's going to be an error, because if we look at the error type, we are expecting this to be a var error, so the error thrown by the check for the environment variable. But this function is actually throwing a request error, which is not the same type. It's still an error, but it's not the same. So what can we do here? Obviously, we need to change this, but if we do this will be fine, but now this is not fine. So we need a way to figure out what to do with those errors. One cool thing we can do is maybe remove this and return the error message. Obviously, this is going to fail. So what we can do is we can map the var error into the toString method. So we can do map error. We can take the error as the parameter and return the string representation of this error. So instead of returning the type, which is var error, we can return the string representation of this error, which is fine for our debugging purpose. So we will do this. It's now compiling. So now URL is returning a string, because if it's failing, the error will be bubble up to the results, and we will return an error. And same here. What we can do is to map the error as a string. And this is returning now a response. So what we can do now is to go a bit further, and instead of just printing the auth token here, what we can do is we can return it as the payload of our callback method. So what we want to do is maybe let's match it. If it's okay, and if we have an auth token, we can return okay with the access token. Maybe just the access token string. And if we have an error, we can return, let's say, byte gateway, and with the error message as the body. Oops. Error. Maybe we can print this body, and we can finish the request. Actually, it's error here. Finish. Maybe we don't need to finish. Yeah. So great. Here, what we've done here is we try to exchange the code for the token. If it's okay, we just print it. And if we have an error, let's just print it. So let's go ahead and try it. Cargo run. Let's allow the incoming request. We can try by signing in here. And boom, we have the access token here. So that's great. That's great. Maybe what we want to do is, let's say I did not define some environment variable. Let's try to rerun this. If I do a sign in again, this time I have my environment variable not found. So if we have a look at the code, this is coming from this code path, because exchange code for token was throwing an error, and the error was coming from this. So yeah, congrats, we've now refactoring our code. And yeah, this is the end of authentication. I know this was a long series of 5 days, but yeah, it's a bit complex, and I wanted to make sure that everything was super clear for us, and we have now like a way cleaner code. So thank you so much for following me. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you tomorrow for day 14. Have a good day.